Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free for all. That means you guys are here the whole hour, back and forth. We're going to shoot questions, topics, thoughts, predictions, everything you want to talk about. If you're on X, you're here. If you're on the preparedmind.club, you're here. And if you're on subscribestar.com, you are here live Monday through Friday. And we will be back Sunday for Sunday Night Live for the Zoo, and that's when we include everybody live. That's going to be a great show Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. For now, it's the Friday free-for-all. So get your questions into Mr. Ooman. We'll get them up on the board. We'll make you famous, and all topics are allowed. If any special code words need to be used, I can take care of that, and if, various bots trying to remove your comments, it's because they've detected something. Yeah, it really isn't free speech, folks. It's directed speech. But I'll find a way to talk about everything, folks. But I want to start off with this particular topic. Threatening people directly, indirectly, live, using the internet, using police phones, in any way possible. It's just wrong. It just is. Now, you bet your ass if people had threatened Obama, they'd be arrested. Biden, they'd be arrested. Nancy Pelosi, they'd be arrested. But what do we have now? We've got people threatening the president, the vice president, Elon Musk. We've got people threatening on the internet and in person, as well as calling the police. And they did that over the last couple of nights. First, it was just a couple of social media right-wingers. And last night, it was about 10 different people that are big names on Twitter, X. They got swatted, which means the people that did the swatting. And swatting is picking up the phone and saying, hey, policeman, at 12345 Pine Lane, Springfield, there is a violent action going. I hear screaming and yelling, and I might have even heard a gunshot. So the police show up in the middle of the night with AR-15s and shotguns and start kicking in doors thinking that there's a crime. People get killed. People get hurt. People get arrested. And it is an absolute awful and chicken shit thing to do. And that's what the left is doing. They're resorting to using threats of violence. Now, the vice president in person, J.D. Vance and his wife, they went to the Kennedy Center. That's right. And when they stepped in and took their seats, a good percentage of the crowd started booing and talking shit. And someone yelled, "Kill that vice." Well, he's the vice president. So we know exactly who he's talking about. But the word "kill that vice." When will these threats be prosecuted? Democrats are now literally way over the line, which tells me, in my head, my thoughts, that we're all going to be targeted. We're all going to be targeted. Remember, this is what they were thinking back before Trump was president. This is what they were thinking back when Biden was still president, when they just didn't like you for existing. But now that Trump is in power, now that Elon Musk is revealing the fraud, waste, abuse, theft, etc., they're getting very upset. This is what they think of you, folks.
I know we can do this together. There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
That's what they say. That's what they think. And they'll use any manner, any excuse to target us. We just need to be prepared for it. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. whether they use income. Oh, that's a rich person, even if you're just a middle class. Oh, you're a racist, right? And you call any race. You can call a black man a racist if you want for liking Trump, right? You can use race, age, money, gender, right? They hate men out there. Anything they need becomes the excuse. And when they can't win, they resort to violence. What do you think? Do you feel safer today? I feel empowered in the state of Florida. I feel safe in the general area I'm in. But as far as just feeling safe in general, no. I think these left-wing radicals are out there everywhere, and they're showing that they will SWAT anyone, call the police, and try and get them killed. And, Cash Patel says they're looking into it. Cash Patel says they're going to look into it. They're investigating, says the FBI. Does that help you sleep better at night? All right, Cash Patel, director of the FBI, said that, they're looking into it. They're investigating. They'll arrest people. Facial recognition technology was used to arrest every January 6er from 2021. But for some reason, the police don't keep track of the phone numbers of those who call in. The left-wing murderers who attempt to use the police to do their murdering work, they don't take phone numbers, huh? Now, I understand they could use burner phones. I understand they could use a number of different things, but where are these police? And there's something else that's strange that goes on with this, and then I'm going to turn questions over to you guys. So I hope we've got some good ones in already, Mr. Uman. But there's something else strange going on with pizza delivery guys. Pizza is delivered after people are swatted. I find that extremely strange, odd, weird. Get your questions down below, folks. This is the Friday free-for-all. It is your chance. You can use all caps or just a cleverly worded question. Get them on in now. It is your show on Friday, the free-for-all. Woo! There's a lot of things that are important to me that I want to get to here. And it's your show too. So let's have some more fun with what is going on. And the reason I say let's have fun is why not? Right? You should always enjoy your work, no matter what it is, even when the work is threatening you. Okay, get this. DOGE, and I just mentioned them a minute ago, the left wing are threatening the hell, just threatening everybody in DOGE. I think Judge Chutkin is exposing or said, go ahead and expose the names of DOGE workers. How is that in any way an intelligent move? These people are revealing massive fraud and crimes. And so we want their names out there so they can be harassed, so they can be searched and looked for and followed home, so they can be what? Firebombed? Oh, that happens. So they can be chemical bombed. So they can be fentanyl bombed. Is that what's going on here? We need to do that. Judges are really getting way, 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 way out of hand these days. I have no doubts that they want a whole lot of trouble. But DOGE is continuing to do what it does, and it's really pissing off the fruitcakes, folks. The LGBT people are very pissed off. In fact, DOGE has now found $620,000 for a pregnancy prevention program. Now, wait, that sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? A pregnancy prevention program for less than $1 million. Except there's a problem with this. It's a trans-tardation slush fund, right? Because the people they're trying to not get pregnant are transgender boys. For real, folks. For real. $620,000 for pregnancy prevention for boys. You know what I think this money was being used for? It's to convince boys that are trans that they can get pregnant. You see, at every level, schools, local media, state, federal, movies, entertainment, stories, websites it's all about lying to us so much, so often, so frequently, and so intensely that people begin to believe the lies. But this truly is retardation. Boys don't get pregnant, even if they think they're girls, just like boys don't menstruate, even if they think they're girls. And boys are not girls, even if they think they are. Kind of like Representative Dinglehopper in Congress. That's right. The United States Congress now has a tranny guy who thinks he's a girl, and he's getting mad at being misgendered. And he says, "You are weird. You are bizarre," even though he's a guy who dresses and looks and acts and tries talking like a girl, and he is not. That's weird. That is a mental disorder. It's called gender dysphoria. And it's a psychological disorder. But, I guess we need retards and fucked up people to represent us in Congress, right? Not me. No thanks. Okay. Mr. Ooman, I know that we've got some stuff to discuss out here. It is your turn, folks. Go ahead and get your comments down below. And Ooman says, the pizza swatting is actually kind of funny on Pi Day. That's right. It is March 14th, which is Pi Day. What is pi? Pi is 3.14. It's one of those math things that has to do with there's no end to the solution. It is an eternal math equation, pi. I went to college once, and I tried out for I ate a pie, but failed. Anyways, that's an old joke. But pizza pie, could that be it? Since the attacks came at 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m., etc. And people started. Some of these people that were being swatted were sending out tweets as it was happening, letting people know what's going on. And not just social media people, but their family, their friends, brothers, fathers, mothers, sisters. It's getting kind of crazy. But pizza swatting. So the pizza guy, after you get swatted, shows up to deliver a pizza, and you're like, I didn't order a pizza at 2 a.m. Right? Literally 2 a.m. pizza. Now they're going to stick them with a pizza that they didn't ask for, or are they going to say, well, we're not going to deliver pizza to this guy anymore since he didn't pay? No, they've been pranked as well. But swatting is so much more than just a prank. It really is, and one of these days, I expect it. One of these days, we're going to see what happens, folks. They have no right to kick in your door unless a crime is being committed, and a complaint from somebody is not a crime. A complaint or a concern doesn't equal probable cause. I hope that they can fix these problems, folks. Except our Attorney General, in my opinion, is worthless. She thinks red flag laws and the like, which are in the same category as swatting, in my opinion, are a good idea. Oh, we've got some work to do, folks. We have a lot of work to do. Pizza pie. That's good, man. I'm glad you saw that connection. Now, speaking of Pam Bondi, I am merciless, period. I have no mercy for these people. They're in a position of authority and power that you would love to have. I mean, how would you like to sit at a desk with me, Ooman, Chin Music, right? Your family, and have the list of Jeffrey Epstein pedophiles right in front of you. And you could go down that list, and you could take the names, put them on a piece of paper, hand them to an assistant and say, go give that to Kash Patel. Tell them to arrest them right now. You could hand out arrest warrants all day long. Right? You've got probable cause. You've got evidence. Bring them in. They're part of a child trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Bring them in. But Pam Bondi doesn't, right? Instead, she has managed to arrest a terrorist. Well, she didn't arrest anybody. She went on the news yet again to let everyone know that a terrorist has been arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at a Tesla dealership. Now, I'm going to ask you this. What is more important? A Tesla dealership window, a Tesla automobile, or a child and their life in the hands of one of these fucking sick, depraved Mossad, CIA agents, and rich billionaires and politicians? A child's life is ruined, and they're lucky if they live, and they're unlucky if they have to live through that kind of crap. And here we are, right? So this Molotov cocktail tosser may face 20 years in prison. How much you want to bet they cop a plea? They get a reduced sentence, suspended, and they're out with time served, right? But if you want real crime, right? If you or me or somebody said, get that person off the Jeffrey Epstein list and arrest them, how many years would that billionaire child rapist from Epstein Island get if Pam was honest and arrested them, right? They should be getting life. But no, they want to focus on Tesla dealerships and extraditing terrorists from outside the country. We've got plenty of them right in this country. A great number of them are in Washington, D.C., taking money from international funders of societal and chaotic unrest, right? Like George and Alex Soros. They want to fund left-wing groups. They want to fund left-wing Democrats. And I'm talking about district attorneys as well as legislative representatives. Oh, we're in a fight for our lives, folks. It's not even close to being over. It has barely begun, in fact. I'm hoping that we can make and take some big steps here over the next couple of years and remove a lot of them, put the fear of God in them. That would be great, would it not? All right, Mr. Uman, let's have some fun here. Who do we want to put up next? And we've got Redneck Roughneck. And he says, if they impeach a couple of them judges, the rest will start considering their judgments. I like this topic a lot because lately, these little chicken shit district judges have been interfering with the Constitution. It is off the hook ridiculous. An Obama judge has ordered Trump to bring back on to the payroll 20,000 fired workers. Now, that's 18 agencies, 20,000 workers, approximately, right? That's over 1,000 people per bureaucracy, agency. Right, I talk about CIA, FBI, IRS, ATF, DHS, NIH, CDC, right? That's 7. This judge knows of 18 because there's a lot of them, folks, a lot more than I'll be able to sound off. But these weren't just regular federal workers. These were probationary workers. That is to say, people who just started, just came on board. So a little itty-bitty judge is going to tell the president of the United States who he can and cannot fire. So now we have several Democrat judges telling President Trump what he must do. This is a violation, Redneck Roughneck, of Article 2, presidential authority. We are in, right now, a constitutional crisis. You are correct. Every one of these judges needs to be impeached for violating their oaths and their constitutional restrictions. Yes, as an Article 3 judge, you're supposed to look at the whole Constitution. But to order a president and tell him what he can and can't do within his own authority is just beyond. Now, if you and I violate the law, if we step over the line, if we make a mistake, we're told, hey, there's no excuse for your ignorance, right? Ignorance of the law, not excusable. So how much more so should that be for judges? Or do they get to say, well, in my mind, I've created the circumstance by which I have authority over the president. And in my mind, right, I'm not ignorant. I am the Constitution. They're like Judge Dredd. I am the law, right? So they're going to tell us what the law is. They're going to enforce the law against us. They're going to create law. Have you noticed that? The last 40 years, actually going all the way back to Roe v. Wade, well over 40 years, judges have been accused of legislating from the bench. That is to say, they take something and they go, no, that's not how it is. This is how it is. And they create their own law. So judges do what judges, they do judging, and then they do legislating, and now they hire people and rehire people that have been fired. And I'm sure at some point they're going to want to tell the president who he needs to fire. And for what reason? Because a judge doesn't like somebody or like their political position. Right? These judges stand on the shoulders of great men and pretend like they've created it all, like they're absolutely perfect. I, for one, have had it with these judges. I don't think impeachment is enough. But you are right, Redneck Roughneck. A couple of them get impeached, they would stop. Right? It would give them notice, you're done. If you take a few of them and throw them in jail and arrest them for clear violation, intentional violation of the Constitution, right? Impeach, disbar, arrest, incarcerate. Judges will calm the fuck down and stay in their lane, right? I don't have a problem with a judge doing a judge's job. But how many judges and lawyers have we heard about lately? How many district attorneys? How many councilmen, state representatives, federal legislators? How many of these people have we heard violating the law? Not just reckless driving and drunk driving, not just abusing their spouses, not just embezzling and stealing money from the people, but also being involved in, you guessed it, child pornography, right? What else? Bribery, extortion, theft. Right? It's incredible. So I don't believe any of these people, and I don't care what party they're in. They all need to be looked at closely. They all need to be investigated. They all need to be audited. You and I, we get audited with these computers all the time. In fact, an IRS agent who was let go didn't complain about being let go. Instead, they turned whistleblower and explained to the world exactly how piss poor government computers are and their systems they have. What are they doing with all these trillions of dollars of money that have been sent to them? Well, apparently, they just put it into their own retirement funds. But I think the light of truth and, shall we say, the auditor's light needs to be shined on them. I'm sure Elon Musk can set them up with software that actually works. So these people can all be held accountable along with the rest of us. Okay, well, I'm going to need to talk about taxes as well at some point here, but I want to get back to you guys. I know that was Redneck Roughneck, but I brought in some of the information that I wanted to talk about as well. So let's continue with you guys over there. Who's up next? What have we got? We got Robin G. She says, hi, John and Ooman. We are having high dusty winds today. About blew away checking my mail. I'm sorry to hear that. Funny as it is. I don't know where you're at, Robin G, but I've seen videos today of huge dust storms. I've seen videos today of trucks getting blown over on the highway, semi-trucks. And to me, that's not outside my experience. Where I lived in extreme Northern California, we had massive acceleration zones at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The wind would rush down, from 8,000 foot or so all the way down to 4,000 foot and just knock things over. It's crazy. Yeah, you got dust, you got winds. Right? Best to avoid that kind of stuff. And is this regular weather or is this modified weather? Regular weather, modified weather. A lot of states are looking at this weather, Robin, and going, you know what? And by states, I mean state governments. They're saying, we don't want this in our state anymore. Right? We're going to make it illegal to do chemtrails. Now, I support that 100%. But here is the problem. The United States government claims it owns the air. The United States government claims it owns the airwaves. You cannot fly a plane up there. You cannot broadcast a frequency on ham radio, FM radio, AM radio. There's police band, military band. There's all kinds of sideband out there. There's all kinds of stuff. Can't broadcast on it. But so here's the deal. Let's just say the state of Florida, my state, says no more chemtrails. And they're talking about it. It's affecting people's vegetation. It's affecting their health. It's getting into the soil. It's killing plants and trees. Right? Why are they doing this and continuing to do it? It's because they know what it does. It's not good. So let's just say the state of Florida says, you can't do that anymore, Company X. And Company X says, well, once we get up there, that's federal territory. And that plane lands back on the ground. Can the state of Florida arrest that pilot, arrest the ground crew, and arrest the members of that company? The answer is yes, because the material they're putting up there is hurting people on the ground. It's affecting them. It's landing on the ground. That's a form of littering, if you look at it that way. Now, those chemicals are toxic, so they should be confronted and, shall we say, arrested and charged with attempted mass murder. And that, I think, is how they could get it out of the air. Right? You wouldn't spray whatever you want up there. But we got evidence that it comes down here and it's a toxin and you're poisoning people. And you're doing it intentionally. You've had fair notice. I want this shit fixed. Me. What are they doing? A number of different things. They're cooling the planet off. They're protecting the planet from rays. The cosmic ray, whatever bullshit they have. No, they're fucking us up. What a world, folks. Oh, you've heard the term ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. Well, actually, it is. I remember when I knew very little. Very little. I got out of the Marines and was still a very young man. Had an idea that the world is not what it was presented to me as, because I saw enough in there. And then I continued to learn about money, government. Then we had Waco, Ruby Ridge. Then we had, you guessed it, the Oklahoma City bombing. And there were people like Ted Gunderson out there and others revealing what the government's doing. And so you get a taste of all this dirtiness as we watch the Clintons and Whitewater. And then we saw 9/11 and the lies that came from that and the Patriot Act, right? And we saw legislation that made us, the people, suspects, if you will, right? We became potential domestic terrorists to the government. And then we got Obama. And they just continued. If you just follow each year, you'll find exactly what they're doing. And these contrails, chemtrails, air pollution they're putting up there, this aerosolized microparticle, nanoparticle spray, they denied and denied and denied until, well, they got caught. And then they're like, yeah, well, it's just, it's fine. And what really pissed me off is Congress authorizes that. That's right. Democrats, Republicans in Congress, they authorize this. And I think they're intentionally doing it to punish us, to hurt us, to make us, dumb, weak, tired, broke, pissed off. Right? Crazy business. All right, let's move on if we shall. Speaking of these scumbag politicians, Chuck Schumer, who I affectionately call Up Chuck. Remember, this is the moron who had raw hamburgers on his grill when he pretended to be barbecuing like Joe Sixpack, like everyday American Bob. And what did he have? He put cheese on the raw hamburgers. The dumb motherfucker has no idea how to even cook. You see, you cook it on one side and halfway through, you flip it over so it's cooked, and then you put the cheese on there while the other side cooks. But Chuck didn't know that. He is a fake human being. And Chuck has now called you. He's called me. He's called Trump. He's called every Republican because he was referring to Republicans, which means anybody, folks, whether you're a Republican, an independent, or you could be a libertarian, anyone who is not a 100% bootlicking Democrat is a Republican to these people. And he called us live on air bastards. Bastards. Now, this schmaltzy piece of shit, isn't there a better Yiddish word to refer to us? Why not call us cattle or slaves? Why not call us goyim? And then explain to us what he means by calling us that. You see, that's the attitude these people have, is that we're cattle to them. We're slaves to them. We're chattel. We're monsters. We're less than them. And if you noticed, Hollywood, the entertainment industry, media, the governments all want us dumbed down. Would you say the Department of Education has done a great job with America? We all know, no, we've been dumbed down. Instead of teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, they teach how to suck a dick, how to have anal sex, why you would want to cut your nutsack off and your balls or your breasts. That's what they're teaching kids today with these rainbow color haired freaks in the class with their Chairman Mao, Che Guevara, communist sickle, communist flags in the classroom, along with, rainbow flags and trans flags. You see, they're dumbing us down so that we become like cattle. We're dumb as slaves. Did you know that the founding fathers of America did not say we need everyone educated in order to create a babysitting system for children? No, they didn't. They wanted Americans, every last one of us, man and woman, to be educated so we did not fall for tricks like these that are coming out of the Democrats, so that we weren't ignorant fools about what was being done and said to us. They wanted everyone well educated, whether you're rich or middle class or poor, whether you're in the country, in the city, it didn't matter. They wanted everyone educated. And so they created the school system. Right? And what has happened with it? Well, it's been turned into a circus for little bastards, apparently, according to Chuck Schumer. In any event, folks, this is the world we're living in, right? It's confusing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Trump is trying to fix it. We're supposed to be getting arrests. We're supposed to be getting a lot of arrests. Why is it that only Pete Hegseth and, Tom Holman is doing a good job, but I think he could be doing more. Right? Kristi Noem, who is the head of the DHS, is doing something, but I would like to see more. But I guess we'll have to just take what we can get and keep pushing them. And I do recommend that. Become an activist, folks, for yourself and your family, for America. Call, write, message, text all of your congressmen, senators, everybody in D.C., and tell them to fix this shit and fix it now. All right, Mr. Uman, I know we're having some fun, and now we've got, hey, he's back. It's Deplorable Yankee Redneck. He says it's all paid for and government approved by Congress. I think he's talking about the weather modification, chemtrails, chem sprayers. Yes, when I was a Marine, I spent some time on Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. And everybody, whether you're helicopters, fighter jets, cargo jets, whatever, they get patches. Have a patch on their arm for the unit they're in. VMA this, VMA that, right? The numbers, and then a symbol. Well, these people that are doing chemtrails, they have little patches on their coats, on their flight suits, basically showing what they're doing, spraying shit in the air. Now, while I spent some time at Cherry Point, I don't understand the mentality of people who accept a mission that is not good. I don't understand that to this day. Now, who were we fighting back in the late 80s into the early 90s? Communists and terrorists. But we didn't have any units that were targeting Americans, that were snooping on Americans, that were spraying Americans. So these people in the airline or air industry, I guess they're proud of the work they do, right? Something that was hidden for years and years, and they could have come out and told us. Instead, now they denied it. They sat back and snickered as they collect large paychecks and fuck not only us over, but themselves. That's how ridiculous they are. Anyways, yes, it is all paid for. The government's aware of it. Congress, it's right there in those omnibus spending bills. The thing that Elon Musk says, no, you shouldn't be doing that. We should know what's in all of that, and we should be able to know and have time to read it. And I agree with him. I think Trump agrees as well. But it needs to be laid out, and we need to know, what is this doing? I would think, get this, are you ready? If an AI computer can answer questions. I've been testing out Grok and ChatGPT or whatever the fuck that thing is called. It annoys me because it will not answer tough questions. But don't you think an AI computer could scan all of that, understand it well enough to tell if it's constitutional or not? Don't you think that an AI computer could read words like the right of the people to speak, peaceably assemble, right? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Don't you think that the AI would know what infringement is? And that any law that infringes, it would just say, you can't do that. I trust a damn AI computer, once properly programmed. Once again, once properly programmed, an AI computer can get rid of awful legislation, awful regulations, and even entire swaths of freeloaders at government jobs. And people with government jobs know if their job is necessary or not, or whether they're just collecting a paycheck, pushing papers around, and doing useless, menial things all day to collect a big, fat, handsome salary. Oh, they know. They know. A lot of people who have been fired, let go, laid off, they know. Why do you think so many have just left Washington and are selling their homes? Because they know their jobs were worthless, valueless, had nothing to offer. A lot of people took that, 6 or 8 months of pay, separation pay just to leave? Hell, they made out like a champ. That paid to get them moved to the next location. Now, speaking of the government and money, we have a Commerce Secretary in the United States of America named Howard Lutnick. And Howard Lutnick is talking and working with Trump. And they've floated the idea of no taxes if you earn under $150,000 a year. No taxes. Is that good or is that bad? I mean, if you're making less, you're not paying any direct taxes. Of course, it's going to feel good. But, what's right and what's fair? What actually matters? Well, so anyone who gets up to $149,000 a year, they're going to be like, don't give me another raise. Right? Don't give me another raise. I don't want to start paying taxes. It would be nice to know more about the program. If you're at 150 to 200,000, do you pay 2% taxes, 5%? Is it a graduated progressive income tax along the lines of the what we have now, which is completely in line with Karl Marx's communist planks? Right. What actually matters, folks, is law and order. I know we need to fix the taxes. I know we need to get the shit out of the air. I know we need to protect our kids and actually pay for education. We got a lot to do. Trump has an incredibly full plate. He's trying to undo literally 100 years plus of government overreach, overstepping, government legislative violence, everything. Well, you know what really matters now to us is we want to see that law and order is being restored. I've scoured the internet, spent a lot of time looking. And while people are interested in the tax issue, they're interested in stopping war, they're interested mostly, first and foremost, in law and order and holding criminals accountable. Literally, the Epstein list is the number one thing. People have not forgot that. They haven't forgotten about the SEC and all of the insider trading. They haven't forgotten about the gold in Fort Knox, that congressmen and senators are supposed to be able to see it, even though they're not being allowed to see it. We haven't forgot all this. But to arrest the criminals on that Epstein list, nobody, and I mean nobody, in their right mind could argue against that. You're a child rapist, you're going to fucking jail. Who can argue against that? Oh, there's lots of Democrats that will. They will line up all day long and say there's nothing wrong there. You call them by the wrong pronoun and they want to beat your ass, right? You want to take boys out of girls' bathrooms. They want to shoot you and stab you and violently assault you, but it's okay for them to rape children. See the disconnect here? You can't say anything to them, but they could do whatever they want to someone else. They are sick fucking people. All right. Clearing the old throat here. Still suffering a little bit from this this weird, bizarre cold. I wonder if it's related to chemtrails. I don't know. But I want to be on the mend here. I'm going to get lots of rest this weekend, and I'll be back Sunday Night Live with you guys, that's for sure. Mr. Uman, where do we want to roll next? And it's Redneck Roughneck again. He says, what gets me about Obama being elected is he told everything he was going to do, and people still voted for him. It was at that point I realized just how stupid some people are. I tell you what, it's every election reveals to me, like you, a bigger and better understanding of the nature of people, and that they'll believe the most ridiculous shit. And they'll even support the most criminal of behaviors. Look at every Democrat out there. Every Democrat out there is pissed off at Trump and Elon Musk. What did they do wrong? They have looked for and found lost and stolen money. A lot of people are saying they could cut half the budget and nobody would notice out here. We wouldn't notice because we don't see any effect from the money. We don't see any benefit from the government action. In fact, government prohibits, government impedes, government interferes, government taxes. We would feel better with half the government budget. We would feel safer, right? If they were just allowed to arrest and wrangle up criminals instead of one government agency saying, no, you don't do anything to those people. That's our jurisdiction. And then they just let them walk and skate. Right? People are that stupid. Look at every Democrat that hates Trump and Musk. They're talking about lowering their taxes. They're pissed off. They're talking about eliminating waste and fraud. The Democrats are pissed off. Half the country is pissed off. They're talking about what? Right? Hey, egg prices have already come down. Gas prices coming down. Trump is going to trading partners. This pisses off Democrats. But he's telling them, if you want to tariff us 50%, 100%, 200%, we're going to do the same to you and see how you like it. Democrats are pissed about that. Telling them, here's a fact. Men have penises and girls have vaginas, right? So simple a thing. There's two genders. Well, according to the Talmud, a holy book of the Jews, there's 8. What? I don't remember seeing that in my Bible, but hey, right? When it really comes down to it, you start pulling down pants, there's 2, not 8, not 98, right? It's interesting, folks, what is going on out there. And the Democrats get mad at that. What do you mean there's only 2? In fact, another judge, has come out and told Trump he cannot say that men are men and women are women and those are the only 2 genders. Once again, in Article 3 under the Constitution, they're authorized an Article 3 judge is telling the Article 2 president what he can and can't say and what he can and can't do. And I'm gonna finish off my thought with this. Remember when Barack Obama was president? You know, I think Joe Biden said he's a clean, articulate black guy, right? So he was able to speak in a clean and articulate, white-sounding voice. Obama did. And he kept talking about common sense gun laws, right? They love to throw that out there. Common sense gun laws. Common sense. It's common sense to do this. It's common sense to do that. It's common sense. I believe there's a book written by Thomas Paine 250 years ago called Common Sense. And it's not that common. But what do you think they would say 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago if you told them that girls could decide if they want to be boys and boys could decide if they want to be girls and boys can get pregnant? And there's 8 genders or 28 genders or 98 genders. And then try and tell them, well, it's common sense. Can't you see? No, I can't. None of it is common sense. But it was funny. Democrats talked common sense when it came to things Obama was putting out there. You know, like, oh, here's another one. I'm going to take down Mr. Redneck Roughneck for a moment. Here's another one. Remember this? It is a human right to have access to health care. I can't do an Obama accent because he's an asshole. Right? It's a human right to have access to health care. What did we hear when we didn't get the Jim Jones juice? They said, you don't get health care. They're still denying people to this day. 5 years later, folks, started in the spring of 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. Ah, yes. March of 2025 is 5 years. 5 years later, hospitals are still denying to some patients medical care because they didn't get a safe and effective treatment. Unbelievable. Let us continue if we shall, Mr. Uman. I know we're running out of time on this Friday, free for all. Woo! He says, Redneck Roughneck says, when they want you to take the Jim Jones juice, it's trust the science. But when it comes to genders, where's the science? Oh, great question. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Trust the science. What science have they been telling us is out there, right? Well, trust the science, but don't look at those moon landing pictures. Trust the science, right? That's what they say, but don't look in their pants. Right? It's always what they say and what they want you to believe. For me, the distinction between reality and fiction is becoming more and more and more clear. The divide, the leftists, the Democrats, the liars, the propagandists, they used to sprinkle a lot more truth into their lies to make them more believable. Make them more believable. Now their lies are becoming less and less believable, more and more fantastic. And I mean, some of the memes, some of the jokes now are, you know what, we're running out of conspiracy theories because all the ones we used to talk about have now become an everyday truth, an everyday fact in our lives. From weather modification, right? They said it was a conspiracy theory that we're being invaded. We discover, oh, there's about 20 million illegals here. They said, oh, we're not spending your money on them. Well, whose fucking money is the government spending? At the city level, the state level, and the federal level. They're spending FEMA money, Social Security. They're spending welfare money. They're spending Veterans Administration money. Money from everywhere. You said money. All of our money was just being taken from us and just thrown away. They said that was a conspiracy theory. Oh, no, this isn't going to hurt anyone. And then we have a couple of disasters. I don't know, like Florida, Hawaii, California, North Carolina, South Carolina, the Hamptons, and we got no money for you people. Sorry, America. No money for you. We just sent $270 billion to Ukraine, and we're continuing to send money out of this country, which needs to stop. It needs to stop. Even our allies, we need to stop sending them money. Why are we giving them money? Now, I don't mind. Let's just pick a country. Let's pick a country here if we shall. Pick a country. Australia. If we're going to give Australia $10 billion or $20 billion, how about if Australia give us something useful back? Like raw materials or finished products? I don't know how that would work. How does the government deal with that? But why are we giving our money away with nothing in return? Right? Make these other countries produce. Kind of like taking your money and giving it to welfare recipients who do nothing to earn that money. They should be forced to work for it. You want money? Work. It's that simple, right? In fact, speaking of productivity, Trump said that his discussions with Putin about ending the war in Ukraine have been productive. And Trump has also said there's a massacre that is about to occur. We have somewhere between 10 and 30,000 Ukrainian troops that are surrounded in the Kursk area. Thousands of them surrounded, and they need to surrender. Right? This is what happens in war. You send men in there to fight with each other, and they die. They get injured. They get captured. At this point now, it's up to Zelensky to end the useless and senseless deaths, right? So that they could go back to their lives. That's right. And do something productive. And speaking of productive and reproductive, the United Nations, another conspiracy theory that has been proven true, has a replacement program to replace the people of Europe with non-Europeans, to replace the people of North America, that would include Canada and Mexico, with people from other countries. It's called replacement theory. And it is about, in my opinion, replacing people who are productive, intelligent, and replacing them with, well, more easily controlled people who only need to perform menial tasks. They don't want intelligent people watching them. They don't like democracy. They want to get rid of voting and just tell people, this is what you get. Right? In other words, these rich bastards, and by rich, I mean mega rich bastards, they want to be the elites. They want to be the only white people. They want to be special, and the rest of us become sewer rats to them. Cattle, animals, monsters, if you will. That's how they look down on us, right? I've seen the way they treat people. It's unbelievable. This air of superiority, and it bleeds down into all government. Look at the way any government person treats others, from, well, people like Chuck Schumer, who calls us bastards, all the way down to the local megalomaniac policeman who says, I'll ruin your life because I'm having a shitty day. That's what government and power does to people's brains. It gets them all fucked up. Wow, folks. What a week. What a week. And speaking of this superiority thing and this replacement theory, the Department of Education under President Trump is now investigating 45 different universities for their discriminatory and exclusionary practices, right? They're anti-white, they're anti-Asian, right? 7 of these universities have race-based segregation. And the United States government gives billions and tens of billions and even hundreds of billions of dollars to college campuses, these same colleges that charge anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 a year in tuition. Just depends on the school. Like these elite schools, any university is incredibly expensive, and as far as I'm concerned, a waste of time. But why are we giving our money to them? And why are they being allowed to discriminate against anyone for what? For being politically the wrong color, for having the wrong skin color, right? For having too high of an IQ or being too smart. We need to get rid of those people. And then they want to give degrees to people who plagiarize, lie, cheat. It's crazy. It's just absolutely awful. Mr. Uman, where do we want to roll next? It has been one hell of a week. One hell of a week. Heidi says, in my graduation class, even the football team were NHS students. It's gone downhill since then. National Honor Society. That's what the NHS stands for. Even the football team were NHS students. When I went to school, the football team had to have passing grades, nothing less than a C in any class. They weren't honor roll students. But, you know, they want us all to be this, right? The filthy, racist Democrat representative from Texas named Jasmine Crockett. She says that America needs illegal aliens. Well, why, Jasmine? Why? Well, to clean hotel rooms, naturally. I guess even Americans, right? We don't need smart kids. We don't need scholarship level kids, right? Everyone can be dumb, right? It is funny how someone like Jasmine Crockett, who was raised in a wealthy family and went to a private school, pretends to be some kind of ghetto queen. It's funny how pigs like her would squeal if it was said that she should clean hotel rooms. In fact, I think that's a fine idea. I think all of Congress, they don't need huge staff. I think they should have to clean their own offices, clean the bathrooms. Not staff workers, the congressmen themselves. Let them, right, take care of themselves. You and I, us, we're required, are we not, to get up, go to work, earn a paycheck, give half your money away in taxes to the federal government, state government, local government, and then come home and clean your own fucking house. Not these filthy, racist, scumbag, holier-than-thou, elitist bastards. They're the ones that have caused shit to hit the fan, folks. They're the ones. They're the ones. Right? And by the way, NATO has now said Ukraine getting into NATO is off the table. Yes, the scumbag sissy Mark Rutte of NATO. He plans to restore relationships with Russia once they settle this whole war thing. That's right, with the United States of America not funding their war and not backing NATO with American troops, money, and nukes. Now NATO is willing to kiss Putin's ass. This war is all but over. If NATO is saying, yeah, I guess we'll restore and have normal relations with Russia. Of course, Russia has huge amounts of raw mineral resources, energy, meaning coal, natural gas, oil, and uranium, right? It's going to be a mess, folks. Things are going downhill. They're not going to get fixed immediately. They won't get fixed immediately, but you and I can pressure right? Phone calls, texts, sending messages to Congress. Get active, folks, and also watch your six, watch your back. These Democrats are nuts, and they are, in my opinion, going to get violent. So have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. I'll see you guys Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for the zoo, and we'll all be there. I sure hope to see you there because I have some feelings and I've got some messages. Some weird shit's going to start because it's getting warm again. I'll see you later.